When I was younger, I visited my grandparents' house all the time. They lived in a single-story house with an unfinished basement. The house was only about 6 years old at the time, relatively new, but I never liked going down to that basement. It felt wrong somehow, too small for how big the space actually was. There was a storage room down there, just a small door in the corner. I always got a horrible feeling whenever I went near it. Even at 6 or 7 years old, I knew to avoid that door. One afternoon, my grandma asked me to help her with something in the basement. I didn't want to go, but I followed her down there anyway. We were down there for maybe 5 minutes when the doorbell rang upstairs. My grandma told me she'd be right back. She knew how I felt about being down there alone, but I nodded and said okay. The second she left, that bad feeling came back. It settled deep in my stomach, heavy and cold. I stood perfectly still in the middle of the basement, not wanting to move. The lights started flickering. Then I heard noises. Faint at first, like someone talking. It wasn't coming from upstairs. It was coming from that storage room. Then I heard my name. The voice sounded exactly like my grandma's. I was confused because I knew she was upstairs. I could hear her footsteps on the floor above me. But that voice calling my name was coming from behind the storage room door. I didn't want to move. Every instinct told me to stay where I was. But I was curious, and the voice kept calling. It sounded so much like her, and it sounded like she needed help. I started walking toward the door, and the closer I got, the worse the feeling became. My chest felt tight. My hands were shaking. When I finally reached the door, the lights went out. Complete darkness. I couldn't see anything. I wanted to run upstairs, but I was frozen. Then I heard my name again, my grandma's voice, asking me to open the door, asking me to help her. So I did.